Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 16th of May. I don't know how or where the time has gone since I last did a Brew and a Blether. I'm doing them every 4 weeks now. But 4 weeks? Has it really been 4 weeks since I did the last one? It's really quite astonishing. And I'm a little bit unprepared tonight. Well, 'twas ever thus, really, wasn't it? I was actually, Enrique and I were at a funeral this afternoon over in Lee, which is near Warrington, and it was an old chess friend of his. We've had dinner with him and his wife, and sadly he passed away, aged 89, or nearly 89. But it was I find funerals, they're always bittersweet, really, because it's a wonderful opportunity to celebrate a life. But it's equally, sad that they're gone. But equally, again, you get to see people that you don't normally ever see. So I didn't get back until nearly 7:30. So I will do my best to catch up to speed. You might have gathered. I had a quick look through the post that I said, and we've had a few suggestions. I know that Kira suggested a mom and a baby duck. I wouldn't have time for doing that, so I'm and a pigeon. I've never done a pigeon before. Can you believe it? I've never done a pigeon. So I might have to do one of those, Yvonne, at some point. And Julie, I have in fact made red pandas, and I will be making 2 special ones to go on top of a wedding cake very soon. However, so for tonight, I'm going to stick with, I think it was Sarah's suggestion, that, and Sarah has just joined. I think she's just hopped on the call. Hello, Sarah. You suggested, I think, a polar bear holding one of these gorgeous little vases. Now, these are just wonderful. They are actually proper ceramic. Somebody has actually thrown this, because it's hollow. It might be a mould, I suppose, but I'm not sure. I don't know how it's been made, but it is proper ceramic. It's lovely, and it's properly glazed too. And I found a wonderful Doll's House miniature shop where I could get them from, and I also bought these. I did not make the flowers. The flowers are wonderful. They're beautifully made. I think it's with air drying clay rather than polymer clay, but they work perfectly with these little vases. So, hello, Sarah. Hello. I am, as usual, peering over the top of my phone and trying to keep up with comments if I can. So, it's going to be a polar bear holding this little vase. I've only made bunnies so far to hold these vases. I've got a handful of them. And Nick's here too. Hello, Nick. Lovely to see you, and happy birthday again for, was it yesterday? I think it was, wasn't it? Happy birthday. May babies are great, are the best, and Sarah can testify to that too, as it's, your birthday coming up soon as well. Anyway, yes, it's a beautiful day here. I don't have the main light in the studio. It's still so light, but it will, I think the sun will set in the next 20 minutes or so, so it might get a little bit darker. But anyway, right, polar bear. So this is all part of my Spring Flowers shop event for next week. I will make as many wee creatures holding flowers, not just with vases, although I'm totally smitten with them at the moment, but also holding the ceramic flowers. And what else can I do? I've got the paper blossoms, so I'll do some of those. I might do some creatures and flower pots as well. Just so many things which I can do with the flowers. And I know it's, well, are we pushing into summer now? I still think of this as spring, really, even though we're in May. So May is spring for me. It'll do. So yes, I am using less clay than I normally do for the polar bears because this is quite small. So when I make the bunnies, in fact, I have a few bunnies. I can bring one over. Here's one I prepared earlier. So these are the little. These are the bunnies that I've done so far, and you can see how small they are by comparison to my normal bunnies. I don't have a normal bunny to show you, but this bunny is made with 5 grams of clay, but bunnies are slightly more slender round the neck than polar bears would be. So I'm going to use 6 grams of clay for this polar bear. I'm not sure I've ever actually made a polar bear of this size, so it's going to be interesting to see how he scales up. But I love the idea of him just peeping around the edge of the vase and holding onto it tight. And they're just such cute. They're just perfect vases. I mean, when I saw them, I was like, yep, I know some wee creatures that are going to enjoy hanging out with them. So it is, I think I said this in jest really, but I think there is a grain of truth to it, that my superpower is being able to find cute accessories for the wee creatures. Yes, so, and I just keep my eyes peeled at all times. Oh, and I'll warn you now as well that the timer will go off. I am currently baking a couple of creatures, a couple of mice and a bunny actually, that I made earlier today, but I haven't had a chance to bake yet. So because I was late back, it's gonna go off, or I'm gonna switch it off in about 20 minutes, quarter of an hour, and then yes, then they'll be done. So you'll hear a big ping, and you'll hear what it's like when I'm finished baking the wee creatures. Because I just use a normal toaster top oven. It was the cheapest one that I could get from Argos. Cheap because it has less of a temperature range, not because I'm a cheapskate. I did actually want to spend more money on a toaster oven, and it's all tax deductible and all that, but I did want to get a better, you know, sort of the next model up, but there's no point because I need something which doesn't overheat. And this one is great. It goes up to sort of like 200 or 300 degrees centigrade, but I can manage it. I can put it down so that it only goes on to 120 or 110, basically. So have I ever made a polar bear? I'm not sure that I have, actually. Oh, and hello, Dawn. I can see Dawn. Hello. Yes, I'm actually, because I don't have the overhead light on, I can see more. I can see more of the comments. Funnily enough, there's less reflection on the screen of the phone. Again, I keep meaning to take it, or keep thinking I'll take a photograph of my setup so you can see how I'm working. But if you can imagine, you are actually my eyes at the moment. This is pretty much what I see when I'm working on the wee creatures. Normally, though, my nose is much closer to them because I am so short-sighted. But I have perfect vision about 6 inches from my nose. Go figure. So I'm just shaping the head here, and again, it's very subtle movements. In fact, or what is it? Movements? Well, I suppose it probably is, but yes. Do you know, my brain is mince, really. Because I got chatting, I caught up with a few people that we hadn't seen for years. And it's just fascinating hearing where they are in life and what's been happening to them. And so my head's still full of this afternoon's of the funeral, but it was a lovely celebration of a much loved man. It was good. It was good. Sad that it was under those circumstances, but good that it brought people together. So having done the head, this is sort of the order that I do it in. I'm really trying to. And I also just do this with my thumbs. I don't use any other tools for this. My fingernails are dreadful. I could probably do with a trip to the. Oh God! You know, I'm losing my ability to speak. What do you call the people who do nails? The nail person. There's a word for it. Pedicure. That's it. Manicure. I get there eventually, but I really can't multitask. That is one thing which I can't do, and I'm sure I say that pretty much every time as well. Anyway, I'm now going to give him his little legs. I'm going to start shaping him slightly to one side because he's going to peer around the edge of the vase. So it's just, again, very subtle movements just to kind of get him into position. And actually, I'm going to use my doll's making needle. Oh, I think it's just about time for me to switch off the oven, actually. It's at 109 now. There we go. That's it pinged off. And then the extra heat will keep on baking, but not overheating for a little while. Right. So this is me just making the marks for the legs. And then because that's quite a harsh line, just by rolling the needle along it, then I just blend it out. Again, just with the edge of my thumb. Would you believe I actually I file my finger, not just my fingernails, but the skin around my fingernails, just so that there's no rough parts. Like I've got I did have a rough bit on one of my fingertips, and I just file it away basically, so that no rough edges can scratch the clay when I'm working. Because some people say, how do you get no fingerprints on it? Maybe I've just filed them all away. Maybe I don't have any fingerprints left. Maybe I am in fact the perfect house burglar and I can go around and not leave any, any fingerprints. See, this is the trouble. You're now getting access to my stream of consciousness. It's not that I think about going around becoming, you know, a burglar or things like that, but it just has just occurred to me there. Anyway, I should probably stop before I incriminate myself further. Right, so having marked his legs, his haunches, then he obviously needs his little bum cleft as well. But what I will do first of all is actually push him down just a little bit, and that gives him more, it gives him a fatter bum as well. And then I can roll this just up a little bit and to side, and that creates this little bum cleft. I mean, really, it's just too cute for words, and so simple what you can do with just a little doll making needle. Right, so that is pretty much the basic shape for the polar bear, and now he needs all his bits and pieces, including eyes. Yes, I will be getting out the eye box to have a good rummage around in all the eyes. Dawn, I know you love polar bears, and they are so cute. They really are very, very cute indeed. And I'm working on a few polar bears for the glass iceberg pre-order that I'm working on just now. They're just fun to do, and I love making their scarves as well. Anyway, here's a piece of clay that I have rolled out to the thickest setting of my pasta machine earlier. Managed to do that like 30 seconds before I started up the machine. And now I just need to work out which of my cutters am I going to use, and I think I shall use these for the feet and the paws, and I shall use my little Kemper cutter, circle cutter, for the ears, because he is smaller than I normally make. I'll do two, but I normally, actually with the ears, I normally just cut one of these little circles into two, and you know, one half for each ear basically. But before I put his paws on, I need to give him his eyes. So, right. Oh, I seem to have some flob on my... This is actually a 2mm tiny doll's knitting needle, so I could actually knit things with this, but it's so much nicer or easier for eye placement to use this. It's funny how you get sort of a favourite tool and you don't want to use anything other than that particular tool. If I ever lost this, I don't think I've ever found a cutter this exact dimension. I'd be lost. I'd be lost if I didn't. If I ever lost it. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. I am now totally wittering. And I have a cup of tea, and I haven't even started my cup of tea yet. Right, eye box has come out. This little bunny is looking at me at the moment. He's very cute. Right, slurp of tea. Oh, that's good. That is good. Right, off we go. So I'm going to try and get the right size of eye bead, but I need to do this by peering over the top of my glasses, so you might get my head in screen. Hopefully not. I'll try not to. Now these can be... That's not bad for a first go. Excellent. Right. Okay, put that carefully to one side so that I don't cowp them everywhere, as I have done in the past in a very embarrassing and time-consuming and annoying and irritating way. Not here. I don't think I've spilt them in this workshop, but I'm sure in my last workshop in Milnrow there are probably still little eye beads rolling around the floor, destined to roam there forevermore. Ones which I failed to pick up. So, there we go. Eyes back in the eye box, safely put away. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when I do that. I think I'm just conscious of how much work is involved when it does happen. Or yeah. Anyway, eyes look weird, look much better when they're actually in their sockets. This is one of the magic parts of the procedure, you know, because all of a sudden you've got a little expression he's there. He's just appeared. I'll give him his nose. I normally don't give his nose until later, but he needs his nose really, just for the sake of decency and propriety. Anyway, manners, all that kind of stuff. Right, so I shall use a little dab of liquid clay for this. No particular reason why liquid clay as opposed to the medium extender, but there you go. That's just my habit. Again, it's my habit. That's not bad size. Now, there was a time when I used to, oh, he's got a dot of glitter in that. There we go. Wiped your nose. Oh no, it's still there. I don't know whether you can see that. It sort of glitters a bit in the light. There was a time when I would cut out the noses using, like, rolling out a sheet of clay, black clay, and then using the very thinnest cutter. I do it by eye, basically. Not with my eye, but you know what I mean. Right, now, I don't know what he looks like now, but he's certainly looking quite cute. So let's put give him his paws, first of all. And I do cut these at an angle, 45-degree angle, so that they sit under the body without lifting them up too much. Yeah, so it's just sort of shaping them into a rough teardrop, I suppose, but a little wider than, say, the bunny paws, because it's a polar bear. They have bigger paws. That's just the way it works. And then just trimming the edge. Oh, there's a little bit of black clay, and this is where I'll use the medium extender. I think because it's more important that the paws are well secured on, because they're going to be in touch, in contact with the floor or the shelf or whatever they're on, so they need to be pretty robust. And again, just shaping it in there, and I see I have some flob, of course. I've got the air conditioning on actually at the moment because it was really warm in here when I got back. And it makes a difference actually. It makes sure that the clay is more or less at a workable temperature. If it gets too hot, then it's just very sticky and just doesn't work terribly well at all. Sorry, I've not checked any comments. If anybody's said anything, I'm not ignoring you deliberately. I will catch up with them later. But yeah, it's one thing. I've just got to focus on getting all the flob off, and I can see there's just a bit there which needs to come, and a bit there. There we go. I'm using glitter clay. I love working with the glitter clay, even when it's got variable batches. Like this is softer than a lot of the clay that I have, but there's just something. It's quite liberating working with the glitter clay, because it's much more forgiving than working with white, as I discovered when I worked with a plain white bunny today with an Easter egg, a rose quartz Easter egg. That's for Amanda if you're on the call, on the chat. What is this? Is it just Brew and a Blether? But what is it, a live video stream? Don't know exactly. Right, now I need to just make sure that he is sitting forward enough. Because one thing I've found, because I make them so that they're kind of looking up at me, because they look up at me. That's we make eye contact as they're being made. But sometimes that means that they lean too far back. So I always need to sort of keep an eye on their center of gravity, see where it's going, just to make sure that they always need to be further forward than I think they should be because of that. Right, so now I'm using just a small ball shaper. I do love this one. And I will just cut this in half. This is for the ear now. Ears, I should say. There we go. And then I need to just trim the edge to a 45-degree angle, because that's the angle that it'll sit on the head. If I plonked it straight down as it is, I mean, you'll see I've just taken a tiny, tiny sliver, but that makes a difference, would you believe? And now I'm going to just a little bit of the extensor medium, lightly bring the ends together. There's one. Needs to be bent round a little bit, but I'll be able to shape that more with my clay shaper. And then just a little dab of the extensor medium for that one, and that's going the other way now. And it's more by eye than anything that I decide where exactly to put the ears. And then it's just lightly pushing it down, making sure that it's adherent to the surface, sticks to the surface. Doesn't have to be much, but it's enough. And the extensor medium just really does make a very, very good join. Why? I say this every time, I have no idea, but I'm not complaining. I'm not questioning it. Right, and I see I've got some more flob on his back. Where does it all come from? It's like, where do the single socks come from in the back of your washing machine? Where does all the polymer clay flob come from? And then just finish off the shaping with fingertips. There we go. Now, see, I've already started sort of pushing him lightly to the side, and then I can sort of shape his head a little bit. Now I'll take out, this is going on that side of him. I don't know whether he will be sort of peering around the edge, but one thing that's really important when I'm joining these two is to make sure that the vase is completely straight and flat on the surface. So I hold that down. I'm sorry, you won't be able to see it past my fingers. And now I'm pushing the little bear into it. So I'm keeping the vase as straight on the ground, flat on the ground as possible, and sort of moulding the polar bear around it. And that way I know it's going to be completely flat and not off at an angle, etc. Right, so that's pretty much in the right place. He just needs his little bum cleft tidied up a little bit more. There we go. Right, so that's pretty straight. I mean, if I was doing an absolutely like super duper careful job of it, I could use a spirit level. Am I going to? No, that would just be a bit too much. But the fact that I'm even thinking of it, what does that say? What does that say? Right, this is where I now have to very carefully remove the vase from the bear, and it's quite sticky. You see, I have given it, and this bear now, you now see that he's got a groove where the vase needs to be. And I just put a little bit of glue, and white PVA glue is absolutely fine for this. In fact, it's better than the clear Yoo-hoo or Bostik or whatever, because it doesn't lose its stickiness for whatever reason at high temperatures, whereas sometimes glue melts when it's too high. There we go. Right, now that'll take a little bit, not long to dry, but long enough for me just to, I can move his second ear out. Oh, hello, we've got, oh, stray sock. I've just caught, I saw that Lorna's just jumped on the call. Hello, Lorna. And Alison has chimed in. Stray socks morph into lids for Tupperware boxes that you don't have. I think you must be right, actually, when I think back to our Tupperware box as well. There is a strange symmetry between the two. Oh my word. What is it as you get older you get excited by Tupperware? Oh, or jars or pretty boxes or, oh, this is a sturdy box that X, Y and Z came in. I should keep that. What's going on? Oh dear me. Oh, and Lorna is asking, does the vase go in the oven with the bear? Yes, it does. Because if you think about it, it is ceramic. It has been fired, and it has been fired at, what, 600, 700, 800 degrees centigrade? I'm just baking them at 110. Virtually anything can go in the oven And I much prefer to bake in situ, so inclusions, I suppose you could call them. So if I'm giving the creatures something to hold, like the eggs, actually the little plastic Easter eggs that I had, I wasn't sure. I actually did a test run with them to begin with, because they are quite flimsy plastic. But yeah, they were fine. They kept their shape, not a problem. The only thing which I have had a problem with was a button. I think I had a rainbow button. It was quite a poor quality, low quality plastic, and it melted. But you know, it doesn't happen very often. Right, doing paws now, and as I was speaking there, I put liquid clay at that end and a wee dab of the PVA glue on this side, and then it's just a question of making sure it looks as though he's cuddling it. I'll come back and blend his arm more, and then it's the same again. I've put a wee dot of liquid clay there and a wee dot of white PVA glue. It's actually high-tack original all-purpose very sticky glue. That's what I use. It's pretty good, actually. It's good for lots of things. Right, and then the same again. It's bringing it down. Now his arm goes a little bit more across his body here. So much of what the wee creatures do is about getting the position right so that they look in motion. They're moving. It's not just an arm stuck here or a leg stuck on there. They are actually dynamic, I suppose is the best word for them. And it's lovely, and you can do that with just very, very few simple positionings. Oh, flob, 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 flob. And then just blending in the arm and the paw. And then, oh, it's my trusty wet wipes. And this will help not only clear off the flob, but it softens out the lines and the joins. Doesn't make them perfect, but they don't need to be absolutely perfect. But just enough so that it could be like a proper arm joint even. And it's a good excuse to have a little more deflobbing going on. There we go. There we go. Hey! Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. Oh gosh, I'm missing something. You understand how useful they are for all the bits and bobs you've accumulated in your lifetime. Tupperware we're talking about, I presume. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and really, I do love storage. I love tiny, tiny bits of storage. And I have lots of little boxes and things. I mean, really, I am doing the perfect job for my personality type. I really am. It's just full of, it's attention to detail, it's rainbows, it's neatness, it's label printing. Really, I'm very happy. I am. Wow, all right. And, oh, yes. Yeah, and this is why he is lovely, and they do come together pretty quickly. I mean, I will be sort of deflobbing him a little more. There is still some more work to do on him, but basically, this is why I think that they're already made, they're already alive somewhere, and I'm just kind of coaxing them into being. That's really how it feels. I mean, I may have started with just a little lump of clay, but hey, guess what? It's alive. And I was also just marking his little paws, because that's where he's gripping onto the pot. And there we go. So that's the little polar bear with his little tulip. And yeah, that's very cute actually. So thank you for suggesting him. I will do more polar bears. I was wanting to make polar bears, penguins, mice, of course, bunnies, more bunnies, because I'm just mad about the bunnies just now. And otters I thought would be very good for holding on to these, and they'd probably want to, yeah, they'd be very keen to give you a little flower or a rose. I have now got lots of different colours of roses as well, so these are lovely. These tulips are great. But basically, there's so many little miniature flowers that you can get. It's super. Oh, I haven't signed them yet. So, right, I'm really coming down to the last bit of my signature Mio Fiore cane thing. Anyway, so all I'm doing is cutting off a very small piece, a thin slice, and putting it on his bottom. There we go. And then pushing that in, and there he goes, he's signed. Wow, how's that for timing? It's like 8:30 already. But yes. Oh, big yes to otters, excellent. I'm very glad that we like the idea of the otters. Right, so there's my little polar bear with a tulip. And oh, I think it's actually starting to get quite dark here. I think, sorry about the lighting, if it's been a bit variable tonight. I probably should have put on the big light. But yeah, the sun is now setting, so it's all getting a bit dark now. Right, I shall love you and leave you. I shall get home, and I will post a proper picture tomorrow. So yeah, this light's doing something weird, isn't it? But thank you for joining me all. It's been lovely. This is a really good life affirming thing to do, actually, after an afternoon like this. It goes to show how, yeah, we live in the moment, eh? That's the most important thing. And this moment has been brought to you by a little polar bear with a tulip, eh? Right, I shall see you all later. Take care. Night night.